Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now, our topic today is how to shoot and edit for natural light portraits. Now, I want to start out first by showing you how we capture the shot, because there's a couple things we have to be careful about. When we're photographing in direct sunlight, which that's what we did on this shoot here, we have to make sure we don't blow the subject out to where it's pure white. And if it's pure white, well, there's no pixels for us to edit, and we just totally ruin that image. So I'm going to show you a couple examples on how we got these shots in direct Florida sunlight. The first one we're going to talk about is using a diffuser. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to be in direct sunlight and let this diffuser, which we'll show you, make sure that we soften the light and we get rid of any harsh shadows or any hardcore specular highlights on the subject. All right? With that being said, let me roll the video. All right, so here we are at this beautiful McKee Gardens. Look at this. So we found a really nice spot to photograph Erica, and I'm snapping away. Now I'm shooting with an 85 millimeter lens. Notice on Erica here, I want you to watch close. When Lewis comes in, he's going to put the diffuser over her. Now, the first shots I did was without any diffusion, just to show you the difference. Now, when we move the diffuser away, look at this. Look how harsh all of that looks. And he brings it back again. And then right there, of course, is the final image. All right? So you saw that right from the very beginning, right from the get-go, we made sure that we captured a good shot. However, I did make some mistakes along the way, which I want to share with you. All right? So let me come over here. So here's the final images from the shoot. And one moment, if you have questions, please, by all means, leave them in the comments below. And I'm pulling up the comment window. Just one moment. And let's see, window. Here we go, comments. There we go. All right. Yes, it did help that he's tall. All right, so here we are with Erica. Now, the very first couple shots that I did were these ones right here. Let me get my mouse working. There we go. And you can see this is such a beautiful place to shoot. Notice like the hair, look how the sun is interacting with her. And of course we blew out the dress. Now I'm going to bring this up because on the info panel, I want you guys to start to notice something with the information you're going to be seeing. So look at this close while I'm looking at some of these images. Here's another one. And it doesn't look too bad until you zoom in really close, and then you can start to see, you know, what the sun is doing. Now, did anybody notice anything yet? I'm shooting at 2500 ISO. 2500 ISO. What the heck was I thinking? You know what I was thinking? That it was 250 ISO. So it was a new camera. It was a Nikon Z6, the second version. And I don't know if my eyes are getting old or what. I thought it was 250 ISO. I looked at the shutter speed. I thought, okay, not a problem. You know, 1250th of a second. So that was one of the big mistakes I made. The other mistake I made, I shot with an 85 millimeter lens. Now that's my normal go-to portrait lens, but do you notice anything? You can see me in the picture. And by the way, that's not bad noise. So this isn't bad noise for 2500 ISO. That can easily be fixed. So here's a good example to show you if I shot 2500 ISO with my DA10 in a low light situation, it'd be unusable. In a bright light situation like this, it's not bad. It can easily be fixed. So it's not the high ISO that causes the digital noise. It's that with the shadows. So if you shot in low light situation, that would cause the problem even more. But notice, I'm in the picture. So I should have shot that with at least a 200 millimeter lens. I would have been far enough out of the way to where you wouldn't have seen me. All right? So let's get to Erica here. And by the way, to fix that problem, because I did notice it there, I started having Erica move her head around. And so the glasses themselves, I got her to move and tilt her head up. So now it's not as noticeable. You know, it's still there, but it can easily be fixed. All right? So I caught that right away, right when I saw that, and I realized, you know what? Tilt the head up. Next time, shoot with a 200 millimeter lens. All right? So here we are with Erica. One issue I'm noticing here is the dress is blown out. You may not notice it until we recover it. So I'm going to come over here to the light tool for a moment. And I'm going to take the highlights. Look at that. I took the highlights way down, and now the dress is looking much better. I love to come over here to Accent AI. Let's see look what that's doing to the background. It's automatically improving color, detail, tone, and depth of the image. All right, on this image here, I'm also going to come over under the light tool, and let's bring the black, enrich the blacks a little bit more. There we go. Now the photograph is taking shape. So I had to show you a couple ways. First, how to repair a mess or a screw up that I did, and that was shooting at way too high of an ISO. So to fix that, we'll use denoise. And to see what it's doing, I'm going to zoom in to at least 100%. And it's on her face. And in the dark shadows, we're going to notice that. So here it is without it. Give it a second to render. And then here I am using denoise. And it's going to clear that up. Look at that. Does a great job with it. All right. So the over here, making this, because I shot at such a high ISO, I wasn't paying attention to the exposure. So I overexposed her dress. This image right now, in my opinion, is properly exposed. Now we can get creative and enhance it. So to get this natural light portrait looking like it's natural light, make sure you don't overexpose it, and then use that diffuser. Now, I'm going to come over here, and once I have that set, I am going to jump in with a little vignette, choose the subject, and let's just apply it to where we're darkening the edges ever so slightly, but I still want to make sure Erica is the center of attention. Yep, so far. Feather it. There we go. All right. All right, so that's looking good. Once again, before, look at that, and after. Now, since this is a portrait, let's use the portrait tools. I'll come over to the face. Excuse me, I don't need to relight the face. She's slim enough, so let's jump right over to eyes. And with eyes, I can't see them because, you know, she has glasses on, so we'll leave those alone. But I do want to improve her lips. So we'll come down to mouth. And just pop this up a little bit. There we go. And of course, skin. Let's increase her skin or smooth it out. And there we have it. All right. So had I showed you this image first, you would say, oh yeah, that's a great natural light portrait. If I showed you this first, it's blown out. And there's a lot of little things we need to fix. Now, with that being said, let me jump back up here to Erica's picture. So why is that important that we use the diffuser? Well, notice right here, especially like on her leg. On her legs right here. Because that's blown out, and to make life easier, I'm just going to use one of the templates I created for it. So let's see, it's Eric Outdoor. Here it is. So I'm going to use this template. It'll clean up majority of it, but look, that's still there. There's nothing we can do unless we go overboard and repair it by cloning and stamping a sample part of the skin, bringing it over. On her face, it's not as bad. So for this particular image, if I desperately had to save it, then I would crop it like this, all right? Let's see, there's another one. Okay, so this one's all on her head. Go back to template. We'll run Erica's template on it. There it is. And now, again, if I zoom in, look at, there it is. Look at that. There's not a lot I can do to fix this image because, look at that, it's all blown out up in here. So let's do before and after. So what I'm getting at on this end here, it's important that we use that diffuser to make sure that we don't blow out, you know, the skin here, especially. And let me get back to it. There we go. Give it a second to run. And we're set. Good. It did a good job, but again, you can tell, look at that, it's still there. All right? So that's why it's important, again, to use that diffuser. Now, let me show you what we did with my buddy Lewis. All right, so here we are with Lewis, and notice there's no light, so that's closed shade. So we use the reflector in the 5-in-1 reflector to bounce light back into his face, and there's Erica actually taking the shot. And there's the final image. All right, so with that, with Lewis's shot, we put him in closed shade. And here's the difference. Open shade is usually when a building or something is preventing the sunlight from directly hitting you. And if you can look up and see the sky, then you're in open shade, all right? If you're in the case with Erica, she was just out in direct sunlight. That's why we used the diffuser. With Lewis, we put him in closed shade. Closed shade is different, and let me get to this here. Closed shade is when you look up and you can't see the sky. So you're in shade, whether you're underneath an awning, whether you're in a bunch of trees, you're in a position to where direct sunlight isn't hitting you. So then what do? How do we get that look onto Lewis? Well, that's where that reflector came in. So the reflector is going to bounce light back into Lewis. So here he is here. And what I'm going to do is this. Instead of going over the entire time and how we edited it, I'm going to do a real quick one for you. And I'm just going to click a template that I already created for Lewis. I love the color of his skin. Look at it. Everything just blends right in. So I want to go with a more muted colors. So with darker complexion like this, I like it much better. I'd probably crop it right about somewhere in here. Let me get out of there. There. All right, good. Now you have the good-looking guy right here in the middle. Look at that. I'd probably crop it maybe somewhere around here. All right. But what I'm getting at is because of the complexion of his skin, I like the muted colors. So the main difference I did over here was to jump up the colors and desaturate, along with taking the vibrancy way down. All right. So that right there is what gave me this really cool look that I was going for. All right. So I was hoping there's going to be some more questions about this effect. Let me see. Did you pull any up? Oh, thank you, Russell. You're right. It's not a mistake if it's a teaching moment. Bonjour. Good. And yeah, so shine removal. Thank you, Russell. The shine removal would help, but if there's nothing on the skin, I mean, if it's a dead zero, it's 0 pixels, then no matter what shine removal does, it's not going to help. All right? So, again, if you catch yourself out doing portraits and you want them soft, pleasing look, just get one of those 5-in-1 reflectors. They're not that expensive. And what I mean by 5-in-1 is on the outside, of course, is the actual sleeve. When you open it up, inside there, you'll pull out the reflector, and typically it has white on one side, possibly silver on the other. When you open that up and unzip it, so that's 2, inside is that diffuser that you saw us used with Erica, so that's 3, and then that sleeve folds over, and now you typically have a gold reflector on one side, black on the other, so there's your 5-in-1. And it's a very, very handy and versatile tool when you're out on location. And if it's just you, it's kind of hard to hold the reflector in place or the diffuser. That's why you bring along either an assistant, or if the model has their parents with them, family or friends, don't be embarrassed to have them, or don't be shy to ask them, hey, could you hold this reflector over their head? If you don't have anyone to help, don't photograph them in direct sunlight. Take them over to what we just said, into close shade, and then bounce some of that light back on to the subject. All right? So that's how we use the 5-in-1 reflector along with Luminar to create a beautiful, soft outdoor portrait using natural light. Well, guys, I'm Vanelli. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.